Hello, this is Kirsten Wallace, and with me is Jocelyn Dunnigan from the United States District Court for the District of Idaho. And we are going to walk through filing in ECF. By the end of this training, you will be able to navigate the court's website, know what is acceptable for filing in ECF, access and navigate the ECF system, create custom links and hyperlinks, file a motion correctly in ECF with attachments, understand what information is contained in the notice of electronic filing emails you receive, how to use page number references, and how to file documents under seal. We're going to start off with the court's website. The most important page is going to be found under the District Court tab and select For Attorneys. All of the information you see compiled below is on the For Attorneys tab. It will have information on ECF login and procedures, how to file a new case, how to find out information on magistrate judge consent and the process for that, how to submit proposed orders, and various resources you can use. All documents should be filed in ECF, including filing civil complaints and removals. Emails are also contained on the website, including the consent email box and how to submit proposed orders. There's also instructions on how to do that on our website. Jocelyn is now going to walk us through these tabs on the court's website.
Hi, everyone. This is the court's website. It's www.id.uscourts.gov. This is our homepage. To get to the district court, you want to select district court. Underneath that in the light blue, we'll select For Attorneys. A lot of calls that I get in the office can be answered by simply reviewing the court's webpage, specifically under ECF login and procedures. Here you will find an attachment for an Adobe document listed or labeled ECF procedures. This document tells you how large ECF filings can be accepted when entering an ECF or filing, along with other useless and helpful information, such as submitting proposed orders, formats, motions. A lot of helpful, useful information. Another popular tab is filing a new case. Here there are different case types that are entered in the federal court, such as filing a civil case and a petition for removal are more common, as well as Social Security. These are just brief examples of how to file them. But if you go down to the bottom of the court's webpage, you can see that there's another Adobe document for opening a civil case. This document contains instructions as well as screenshots that show you how to file different types of civil case in the Idaho Federal Court. I'm going to scroll back up this page because there's also some just helpful information here. This is our docketing team, and it lists out who is assigned or who is a case manager to each terminal digit. The terminal digit is determined by the last digit on the case. So if my case number ends in a 4, that case would be assigned to me, and I would be the assigned case manager. It's just helpful to contact the direct person who's assigned because they have reviewed the case a little bit more detail. However, any of us can help you in our office. When filing a new civil case or in ECF, determine the division by the county. So the counties are all listed here. Going back up to the top, just a couple other things I'd like to point out, which is a consent to a magistrate judge. The consent, this tab explains the consent process. If you like to consent or request assignment to a district judge, there's forms and emails here that can be found, as well as frequently asked questions about the consent process. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. Under magistrate consent, submitting proposed orders. A lot of times I see proposed orders submitted in and filed in ECF. However, for the District of Idaho, proposed orders should be emailed to the assigned judge for the case. These, if you click on it, will take you directly to the email link. And this is where I would attach my order in Word document or Word format. I clicked on it twice. All right. Finally, I'm just going to show you the resources. Here are just several different links, instructions that can be helpful to when filing an ECF or just with the federal government. All right, Kirsten, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. We're going to move on and we're going to learn how to create a custom hyperlink. CMECF will allow you to file a document with a custom hyperlink. However, you have to do it properly or else it'll disappear once you file it. So we're going to walk you through that process. To create a hyperlink, you're going to have a Word document open and you're going to use the Insert Link tab. There's going to be a display text box that will pop up, and then you're going to type the text that people will click on. To link to a web address, you're going to type or paste the address in the address box. You can call or name the link whatever you'd like, and Jocelyn's going to walk us through that in just a moment. One thing I want to stress, and we're going to show you how to do this in the next slide, but when you file an ECF, you want to make sure you're going to file it as a PDF document and not as a scanned image. So you won't obviously be able to print out your document and scan it. You won't have a hyperlink anymore. And you also cannot use the print to PDF function. That will remove the hyperlink. So Jocelyn, go ahead and demonstrate how we do a hyperlink.
All right, everyone. I created a motion for summary judgment just as an example for this training. And here I put in, this is where I want to insert my hyperlink. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of highlight over it. But before I do that, I should go grab my hyperlink. I'm just going to use the one from the court's website. So I'm just going to right click and copy this. Going back to my Word document, we can do a couple ways. We can either right click and insert the hyperlink here, or we can go up to Insert, Link, paste in my link. Up here is where I want to name it. So I'm going to call this the court's webpage. So again, you could call this, you can label it whatever you like, but down here is the important part where that address is. I'm going to select OK. As you can see, this is a live link now. It's lit up. And if I hit Control and click on it, not like that, I will be then redirected to the court's webpage. All right, Kirsten.
Great. Now we're going to show you how to create a PDF. So once you're finished with your Word document, you've inserted whatever hyperlinks or whatever into your document, and you're finished with your Word document. So you're going to open it up, or if you're already in it, great. You're going to select the Save As button, and you can do a Save As PDF. You want to make sure you file it in a place where you can easily retrieve it and click Save. If you have the full suite of Adobe Acrobat, you will also see the Adobe Acrobat plugin in Word, and you can also use that button to create PDF. Jocelyn?
Okay, guys, so we're back in that same motion for summary judgment, the one that we just had that hyperlink in, and we want to make sure we keep that. So we don't want to print to Adobe. We want to make sure we save it as a PDF. There's a couple ways to do this. We can go up to File and just save as Adobe PDF. Or we can do the Acrobat plug like Kirsten mentioned. So here we would just select Acrobat and then create PDF. We'll name it the as is. We want to make sure it's saved in the right file folder. So let's get back to There we go. That's going to fit where I want it, and save. This will then convert it to PDF. And as you can see, my hyperlink is still active. All right, Kirsten.
Great. Thank you, Jocelyn, for that great demo. Filing tips. We are going to walk you through some filing tips for filing in CMECF. So electronic filings must be PDF, and they cannot be any larger than 15 megabytes in size. CMECF version 6.1 has been tested and works correctly with Firefox 15, Internet Explorer 9, and Safari 5.1 or 6, or any later version of those web browsers. All pleadings, documents, and attachments or exhibits created by scanning, which means you're running it through a scanning machine, must be black and white in PDF format, and the resolution should not exceed 300 dpi. That setting is visible on your scanner. To file documents in paper format or to submit a USB or other disk, you need to lodge with the clerk's office, noting the docket number where you filed a notice indicating that you were going to be submitting these documents in another format rather than filing on CMECF. And we will show you how that looks on CMECF at a later point in this presentation. If you're filing documents with attachments in CMECF and there's an error message saying that you've exceeded the 15 megabyte size limitation, you should finish your filing of those documents and then continue filing any successive documents using the CMECF event supplement. And then you can also link that subsequent filing to the prior filing. Now we're going to talk about how to file a motion. So you've got your PDF documents all organized in a folder, labeled how you want them so you can easily file them in CMECF, and you're ready to file. So we're going to log into CMECF. We're going to select our motion type. Then, if our motion has attachments, exhibits, or anything of that nature that needs to go with the motion, like memorandum, etc., we want to make sure that these are attached to the motion. They should not be filed separately in successive filings. A pro tip here is make sure before you open CMECF that all of your attachments are labeled so that you can make sure to file each attachment correctly and separately in CMECF. Then you want to make sure once you've got all of your filings attached and uploaded to review the docket text before committing. I'm going to show you in a couple of examples before we proceed to a live demonstration. Here's an example of a filing that is incorrect. Here, the filer filed a motion for summary judgment, but did not file the affidavit and the exhibits that go with that motion in docket number 32. So it's now showing up as a separate docket entry, docket 33. The other problem with this filing is that once the law clerk opened up the filing, there were 272 documents. So unfortunately, no one could find the exhibits, which were A through I. They were not uploaded separately and they were not labeled in CMECF. The documents therefore had to be all downloaded and bookmarked by the clerk in order for the judge to review the exhibits before the hearing. Also, what this did at oral argument is it prevented the attorney from being able to refer to the docket site. So, for example, during the hearing, the judge asked, where can I find exhibit I? And the attorney was limited to saying docket 33 instead of docket 33-1, which would have had its own link, and the judge could have easily pulled it up and taken a look in response to whatever question or topic they were discussing at the hearing. Here's an example of how a motion and supporting documents were filed correctly. So we have a motion for summary judgment. It was filed as docket 31, and all of the attachments were filed as separate documents. So we'll demonstrate how to do that, but there will be a screen on CMECF where the browser where the filer can select the motion and then select yes to attachments. And then on the attachments screen, they can include all of the attachments that are being filed in support of the main motion or other document, listed and in a logical sequence and labeled. And now Jocelyn is going to demonstrate how to do that.
All right, everyone, I'm in test ECF right now, and I created a case for us that we can be filing in for this training. So I'm going to go and we're going to file the motion for summary judgment that we created the hyperlink in. And to do that, I would start by clicking on civil and locating my motion under the motion tab. We are filing a motion for summary judgment, so I could start scrolling here to look for my motion that's specific to what I want to file, or an easier way is just to start typing it and it narrows down to motion for summary judgment. Another feature I wanted to point out that ECF has that makes life a little easier is the search bar up here. So I would search it, and again, typing in a keyword of my document. This is being summary. Again, this narrows down my search to motions, and a summary judgment is what I want. So I'm going to click on that and hit next. I confirmed my case, that is correct. I'm the plaintiff, so I will select that. Here's where I start attaching my documents, which is why it's important to have everything clearly labeled. My main document is going to be my motion for summary judgment. I'm going to hit browse, and ECF only accepts PDF filing, so I'm going to make sure I grab the one that I converted to Adobe. All right, my main document is attached. Let's go get my attachments. My first one is my memorandum in support. I just double clicked on it rather than clicking once and hit open, so it populates automatically when you double click. There's options here to select a category. You don't have to, but if there's something that is there that you can use, it just, again, helps the less typing, I guess. But there is a memorandum in support, so I don't need to fill in the description. I'm going to go grab my second attachment, which is my statement of undisputed facts. There isn't an option for that in the category box, so I'm not gonna select anything. I'm gonna leave it blank. I'm gonna move over here and type in what I want, specific. And I'm just gonna use statement of facts. Again, I'm labeling it to match my documents. My third document is a request for judicial notice. No option under the categories. Let's type it out. It's going to auto-populate because I already typed it, so I'm just going to select on that. All right, number 4. It's my affidavit. Remember, if I just click on it once, you just have to go down here and click open, otherwise you can double click and it would pop up. So this is the affidavit, and I actually have that option in the category box, so I'm going to use it. And I'm going to type in specifically who it's an affidavit for. And my final attachment is my exhibit. And I'm just going to call this Exhibit A. All right. So before I hit next, I've got my main document, my memorandum, statement of facts, request for judicial notice, my affidavit, and my exhibit. I'm going to hit next. ECF automatically generates a response deadline. However, this isn't always correct. So if there's an order, that you would go by the deadline of the order or the rule. All right, I'm getting near the final docket text to commit my entry. This is just a drop down if I want to be specific, if it's my first, second, third, or cross, final motion for summary judgment, but I'm not going to pick any of them. Again, here I can type in docket text if I want to get more specific, but I think it's fine as is. It's a motion for summary judgment filed by Mickey Roberts, which is the attorney for this ECF training, appearing for plaintiff. My response deadline, which is generated by ECF. Again, my attachments. 1 is my memorandum in support. 2, statement of facts. 3, request for judicial notice. 4, the affidavit, and finally 5, my exhibit, all clearly labeled. Gonna hit next. This is my final commitment. If I see an error or a spelling mistake, I can always go back and make that change. Like it will only be the change here where I'm typing. All right, looks good. I'm gonna finally commit. All right, this is the screen. We call it the NEF, Notice of Electronic Filing, automatically generated. And I can see the date and time that my document was filed, the case number, what docket number it is, the actual docket text, and who this was emailed out to. Let's go look at it. This was docket 6. I'm just going to view it all. All right, let's get a little closer here. So this is the motion for summary judgment. It's my main document, docket 6. This is my attachment 6-1, which is the memorandum of points and authorities. Docket 2 is the statement of undisputed material facts. Just want to scroll through this so we can talk about the second page of that here.
Yes, thank you, Jocelyn. I wanted to point out how this attorney did a statement of material facts. There's no local rule that dictates how to do a statement of material facts, but I wanted to point out that this type or methodology of organizing your statement of facts can be very helpful to the judge and law clerk. You don't necessarily have to create a table like this attorney did. You can use numbered paragraphs, but what this does is it organizes your statement of fact into a fact with a supporting citation to the evidence that the law clerk and the judge could reference in order to verify that fact. On the flip side, the responding party is then able to take that number, paragraph number 1, and say either admit or deny or admit in part, and cite to their own reference in the record as to what fact, or as to the facts or evidence that dispute it. It makes it really easy for the judge and the law clerk to go through the statement of facts and verify the material in the record to support that fact or refute that fact. Jocelyn?
All right, we'll keep scrolling down. This is attachment 6-3, which is our request for judicial notice. Here is our complaint, which is a part of that, and 6-4, the declaration. And then finally, let's get to our Exhibit A. Did you want to talk about the sticker here?
Sure. I see a lot of attorneys and assistants labeling their exhibits primarily using a page insert, like is shown here where it says Exhibit A. So they have to create a separate page in their Word document and label it as Exhibit A. But I am going to show you an easier way at the end of this presentation. You'll note in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a sticker that was created in Adobe. And you could either create a separate page if you wanted to, or Jocelyn, if you could scroll down. The actual Exhibit A is the deposition of Ron here, and I can just put the exhibit sticker right in the lower right-hand corner of that document without having to create or insert a page. So I'll show you how to do custom stamps at the end of this presentation, and there will be a handout how to create your own custom stamps. Jocelyn?
Thank you. So before I hand this back over to Kirsten, I just want to show you all again how I was able to get to this. So if you go to reports, you can select docket sheet, type in the case number, and run your report. Another option is to go to query, type in the case number, run your query, docket report, make sure it's my right case number, run the report again. This is our case that we created filing different examples here for the motion for summary judgment, clicking on docket 6, which was the motion we just filed, and I could either individually look at everything or view them all, which is what we just did. All right, we'll hand it back to Kirsten.
So notices of removal are filed in the exact same way as we just demonstrated. So copies of the state court documents are supposed to be filed as attachments to the notice of removal, and each document or pleading should be added as a separate attachment and labeled so that the court can find it. So here, this is an example of how this particular filing looks on CMECF. And it looks right. So we've got the notice of removal. We've got attachments for state court complaint, exhibit NK, the answer, and the exhibit declaration of somebody. And then we've got exhibit state court document. This all looks great until we open docket number 6 and we find this. 291 pages are in this document number 1-6, comprising the entire state court file. So in this particular case, the clerk missed the fact that there were 3 pending motions before the state court judge that had not been adjudicated prior to removal. And this was missed because each individual document was not filed as a separate PDF and uploaded as an attachment and labeled. So I understand that might be daunting in terms of a task, but in this particular case, it took the clerk and the law clerk working together to figure out which motions then had to be filed separately on the federal court docket, and it was very time consuming. So again, that same method for uploading attachments that we just demonstrated for motions for summary judgment can be used to make sure that all of your state court documents are attached and labeled correctly. We get a lot of questions about briefs in support of motions for summary judgment. Common question is page limits. The cover page, table of contents, and certificate of service do not count against any applicable page limitation. If you need to exceed the page limits, please consult with opposing counsel and permit opposing counsel a similar opportunity to exceed page limits. File a motion and request permission from the court before filing the overlength brief. These rules concerning filing can be found in Local Rule 7.1, which is on our court website. We often get questions about, is it helpful for the court to have a table of contents and a table of authorities? They are helpful. If you know how to create them, we welcome the inclusion of these items in your summary judgment briefs. It allows the law clerk to easily pull the cases that are relevant from Westlaw, and it can do it really quickly if we've got a table of citations and authorities. Motions to strike. Even though the amendment occurred in 2010, which eliminated the need to file a separate motion to strike, we still see them. The correct procedure, according to Rule 56C2, is to raise an objection within the context of your brief. And there is a rule that says that the objection should address why the material cited cannot be presented in a form that would be admissible in evidence at trial. If you need more pages to address objections to evidentiary material submitted by opposing counsel, simply ask for more pages. Don't file a motion to strike. And I think that's all I wanted to say on motions to strike. We'll move on here. Citations and page references. Blue Book Rule 17 contains examples of how to cite to court documents. So you want to reference correct page numbers. A full citation of a court document includes the following: the name of the document, abbreviated where appropriate, a pinpoint citation, the date of the document if it's required, and the ECF number found on PACER if it's known. So if you're going to be the initial filer, you won't have an ECF number for your attachments and exhibits. So over on the right side here are some examples as to how to cite documents that you're going to be attaching in support of a motion. So here, within the text of your memorandum, this would refer to an affidavit, paragraph number 5. Here is an example of how to refer to a page number versus a specific paragraph. Depositions should be referred to by page and line number. If you're going to be citing to a pleading that's already on file, there is no need to print it out and include it as an attachment. Simply refer to the name of the pleading and the ECF number. You can use the Blue Book preferred method of citation, which is ECF number and then the docket number. Or in our district, we've adopted the DKT to reference a PACER filing. Either is correct. Here's an example of how to refer to an exhibit with a specific page number. So here's the Hawkins Declaration, Exhibit B at 3. Make sure there actually is a page 3 of Exhibit B. We often get filings that have no page numbers on them, and we have no idea if we're actually looking at the correct page number. Here's one that's referring to a declaration that's already on file in ECF. So you would cite to the Hawkins Declaration, Exhibit B at page 3, filed at ECF or DKT number 17-1 at 5. Note that your Exhibit B, page 3, might have a different page number if it's filed on ECF. And this could be because you have filler pages, which have the exhibit reference on it or something of that nature. So the page numbers may not match. Make sure you've got the correct page number. If all of your documents are labeled before you've filed and the attorney has clearly made reference to them in their brief, it should be simple. So for instance, if in the briefing you're referencing the Smith Declaration at Exhibit F, page 3, you want to make sure there actually is an Exhibit F and a corresponding page number 3 to that exhibit. Do not upload documents to PACER without first ensuring exhibits are clearly marked and page number references are easily located. Record citations are another example of how to cite. This is also contained in Blue Book Rule 17. Instead of using page numbers, you're going to use record numbers. So an example to cite to the record at page 9 would be record at 9. If you've got multiple records, make sure each record is labeled. So here is an example of where I've got an environmental case and I have a record submitted by the Department of Agriculture and another record by the Forest Service, and I can reference them by their nicknames. If the record is filed with the court on PACER, you can include an ECF number or a docket reference the first time the record is cited. So here, for example, I've got record at 9, which I can find at ECF number 52 or docket 52. If I, as the law clerk, wanted to go to that record, I would go to ECF number 52 and I could download that record if it's on file with the court electronically. Or here's an instance where there was an administrative record that was brought in over the counter. So what the attorney did was they filed the administrative records separately at docket number 77. They included an exhibit to explain that they were submitting it on disk, and they brought it to the counter. And the clerk's office then received the documents and noted in CMECF that they had received them and that they are now being maintained in the clerk's office. So this allows the law clerk then to know to go down and ask the clerk for the actual disk drive or thumb drive. The notice of electronic filing, we saw a little bit of that when we filed the motion for summary judgment in the test document, but this has a lot of information on it. So NEFs are received when a document has been filed in a case to which you are a party. It will show, once you filed something, it will show the date of filing, the time it was filed, who it was mailed to. If there's a party appearing without an attorney or who hasn't registered in CMECF, it will be served by mail, and those names will be noted on the NEF. Of note, no certificate of service is required on your filed document when a paper is served by filing it with the court's electronic filing system, unless it is served by other means. Refer to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 5D1B for more information on what documents don't require a certificate of service and which ones do. If you no longer want to receive electronic noticing, there is an ECF event where you can select notice of removal of attorney from electronic notice. And from that moment forward, you'll never get a notice of electronic filing in that case. Jocelyn, do you want to demonstrate what an NEF looks like?
Yes. All right. So here I'm in an older case that I found that I thought had a lot of attorneys appearing on it. So this one, let's actually, we'll click on this response to the motion. All right, so in order for the court staff to get to the NEF, we have to click on something other than receiving an email. So this is just our way of getting to the email that you guys received to look at. All right, so here I can see that it was filed on the date here as well as the time, and what case, and what was filed and what docket number. So this is what we call the docket text, as well as all the individuals it was emailed to, as well as their secondary emails, such as the secretary or another paralegal, co-counsel. And then down here, notice will be served by others means, like Kirsten pointed out, this would be if there's any pro se filers that are on the case or attorneys that have not yet registered to receive the NEF by email. All right.
Here's a list of documents that you do not want to file in CMECF. So, consents to a magistrate judge or requests for reassignment to a district judge. Please use the email address located on the court's website under magistrate judge consent for emailing your consents or requests for reassignment. Do not file these on CMECF. Don't submit them to the judge's orders inbox, and do not email them to a docket clerk. There's a special email address specifically for consents. Discovery documents. This includes any document related to discovery, such as initial disclosures, disclosures of expert reports, interrogatories, requests for production, requests for admission, notices of taking deposition, privilege logs, and certificates of service of discovery. None of those documents need to be filed on CMECF. You can refer to District of Idaho Local Civil Rule 5.4. Proposed orders. The District of Idaho does not want these to be filed on CMECF. Be sure to email the proposed order in Word format to the proper judge's email inbox, which are located on, and email addresses are located on the court's website under Submit Proposed Orders. You can simply select the appropriate judge assigned to your case, and the email will automatically pop up. You can also email proposed orders using the visiting judge's proposed orders email, and that email is also on our website. We had a question during the live demonstration as to whether proposed orders should be copied to opposing counsel. There's no real good answer to that. One thing to be cognizant of is perhaps opposing counsel may not want their email inbox clogged with proposed orders sent separately to them. I suspect that any routine order granting a stipulation may not need to be emailed to opposing counsel, or maybe they were already discussed with opposing counsel. So use your judgment and your discretion as far as emailing proposed orders to opposing counsel when you're using the Submit Proposed Orders email box. It may not be necessary to CC them, but on the other hand, maybe check with your opposing counsel to see if they want you to copy them on those emails. Redaction. We get a lot of questions about redaction. District of Idaho Local Rule 5.5 explains that you should first redact, especially personal information. So just because your document has personal information in it does not mean you get to file the whole document under seal. You need to redact social security numbers, names of minor children, dates of birth, financial account numbers, home addresses, and other information that might be personal. So what you can do is you can create your document in Adobe, and you can use the redaction tool and then redact those and then file a redacted version of that document. Do not request to seal an entire document to avoid redaction. If you do need to seal a document because the redaction is going to take up paragraphs or pages, you have to get permission to seal from the judicial officer unless there's some other authorization via statute or rule. You need to file a motion. Motions to seal are publicly docketed because the public and the media must be afforded an opportunity to be heard. And then there must be a public record of any permission granted to seal and the reason why. Sealing should be no more extensive than necessary. So again, you should not file an entire filing, including exhibits, simply to protect the secrecy of one paragraph, one page, or one document. So first you want to redact, and then if it happens to be a whole document, you can extract using your Adobe program. If your request to seal is granted, first, what you want to do is on the public docket or unsealed, you would file the redacted version or the affidavit with the sealed exhibit extracted. So this filing is not under seal. Then you file the sealed document. Sealed documents are filed electronically using the ECF event sealed document. So parties will receive notification that a document was filed under seal, but that sealed document cannot be accessed through the electronic notification email or the docket sheet. So this is when you're going to have to file a certificate of service to make sure that the opposing side receives the unsealed or the unredacted document. So the filing party is thus responsible for mailing or emailing a copy of that unredacted filing to the opposing party, and the certificate of service must indicate the same. So that concludes our presentation, but there are a couple of things that we got questions about during our live presentation that we wanted to show you. So one of the questions I was asked was, can you delete a hyperlink if you've already converted a Word document to PDF? And the answer is yes. So I am going to show you how to do that. Okay, so here I am in the motion for summary judgment, and it's actually a PDF document and I was asked, oh, I don't want this hyperlink to be there anymore, and I no longer have the Word document. What do I do? Unless your PDF is locked or there's some other security feature on it, you can actually edit your PDF. So now I can actually edit this. And I don't want the hyperlink there anymore. So I'm just gonna, and I'm going to delete the hyperlink. I'm going to save the document. And the hyperlink is, whoops, it's gone. However, it still seems to be showing up. And now it's successfully removed the web link. Save. And I can be sure now that it's gone. Okay. Another thing that people were interested in was custom stamps. I'm going to include a handout regarding custom stamps and how to create your own stamps with the recorded version. But let's say this is an exhibit and I don't want to create another page or a filler page. I don't want to have to go into my Word documents and create new pages, right? So I'm going to go up to my tools. I don't see my stamps right away, so I'm going to search for stamp. Here they are. Here's my button. And I actually have already a drop down for my exhibit stamps. And I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to place it where I want to put it on my PDF. I'm going to enter my exhibit number. And there it goes. So this would be a really easy way once you have all your PDF exhibits compiled to then label them with an exhibit stamp. And I can save it. And I think that's all we wanted to show you. So Dawson and I thank you very much for attending our presentation. And if there are any ideas for future presentations that we can do a live demo, we would welcome your suggestions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.